Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to Methology. This is a safe space for individuals suffering from any sort of addictions um, to talk. And um, this is episode 3. So thank you all for being patient. If you were waiting for an additional episode, a lot of stuff has been going on for the positive for me. So yeah, so I've been a little bit busy, but I'm here with you right now. My name is Kareem, and I am a grateful recovering addict, a grateful recovering meth addict. I feel like it's important to say. I feel like it's to say that word is to destigmatize it because it's fucking meth, bitch. Like, you know what I'm saying? Uh, I've seen it written in places where like people write METH with a backwards three, but MEM3. Just like, like for political correctness, I don't know. But we're real here, and so we're gonna use the word. And I actually I when I use meth. When I bought it, I didn't call it, let me get a bag of meth. I called it blowing clouds. Blowing clouds. We were smoking it. We were blowing clouds. And some people used it in various different ways. And we'll get more into that in later episodes. But today, I want to talk to you guys about uh, what I call, well, not what I call, goodness gracious, the seven deadly sins and how the seven deadly sins relate to recovery. Um, I came up with this idea because I have group therapy a couple days a week, and we had a speaker come in, and they spoke about one of the seven deadly sins being lust. So lust is an interesting topic, and so I'm going to start a seven deadly sins series where I'm going to go over each one, and we're going to, as it relates to addiction, and we're going to explore some things. And please, you guys, if you want to be part of the conversation, just go ahead and like and subscribe and leave a comment. You can say anything. You can say "fuck you, meth head," or you can ask questions, or you can, I'll leave. I'm open to like having, anyone joining me having these discussions. Eventually, I will go ahead and having guests like therapists, doctors, and other addicts and family members of addicts, and going in depth about some things. So my goal is to heal, and my purpose is to help in any way that I can to heal the world. And I'm using that. I want to heal the world with my story. So, like to hear it, here it go. All right. So today, again, we're talking about the seven deadly sins, and so I have my notes here and a couple things um, that we're going to touch on as it relates to lust. Okay. So lust, the seven deadly sin. So first, I want to say that what is called the seven deadly sins, I don't, I don't believe them to be sins, and I'll explain why in a moment. Um, but we'll go ahead at first I'm going to give you the clinical the Webster's, the Merriam dictionary um, definition of lust. Lust is an inordinate or illicit sexual desire, a strong passion, especially for longing and for sexual pleasure. So, um, yes, I agree with that definition. But you can have a lust for a lot of things. You can have a lust for life. You know, you can have a lust for soda. You can have a lust for cookies. You know, whatever. So, we'll go ahead and talk about that. But I'm going to talk about how it affects how lust affected me. For me, lust showed up a long time ago, before I ever touched a substance. It was it was lusting for attention, lusting for validation, and it was disguised as like a desire, right? So when I got into active addiction, lust just became another escape route, whether it was sex, porn, flirting, you know, one night stands. I was always trying to numb something. Um, you know, like I said earlier, I don't believe that lust is exclusive to sexual sex. I had a lust for connection. If you watched my first video, I gave a little background of who I am, where I started, and one of the things that I spoke about is me wanting to connect genuinely with people, but because of circumstances, because of insecurities, because of negative things, I couldn't connect. Like I never really felt like I fit in with anybody. And so if you want, you can go back to the first video, episode 1, and get more information with that about my experience there. So I'm saying that I lusted for connection. And that lust for connection led me to smoke my first joint, led me to to have my first drink. You know, I grew up in the 90s, early 90s. I was a teenager in 1991, 13 years old. And that was a different time. But to be cool, you know, I wasn't cool. I was a chubby kid. I liked to act in plays. I liked to sing, and I grew up in the hood, and the people around me, the men around me, my brothers, the guys in the neighborhood, that was not anything that was, you know, and was revered or anything like that. It wasn't a utility that that could be used to form friendships with other boys or in a neighborhood. So I felt alone. So by the time I got to be about 14 or 15, when I first started using substances, it was marijuana, it was weed, and we used to have smokeouts. And smokeouts, it was a group of us. It was my twin brother is the one that had all the friends, and so I had friends vicariously through him. They weren't my friends, like, and it was very very blatant. It was very known that they weren't my friends. Like they didn't like fuck with me, but they did fuck with me. Like so there would be times where we would have like these smoke outs, and then if I didn't have any money, they would skip, don't wouldn't smoke with me because I didn't put in on this man Friday. Okay, it was like that, but for the most part, they passed the blunt, and then if I and so I built a connection that way, and then I mean I'm living in Cleveland in the 1990s, and if anybody know who Bone Thugs and Harmony is, I live down the street from Sawinski. If you know, you know, literally. Um, and so Sawinski is a place where you go buy weed, and it was shit. Bone made it worldwide known. It was down the street from my house, not even a mile. Um, anyway, so I built relationships like that. So if I didn't have any money, I was the runner boy. I would go to Sawinski and get the sack, the sack, the sack. I, if everybody don't know, go play Bone Thugs and Harmony, East 1999 Eternal. Like, you get the references, and I'm getting older, and so a lot of people don't know what the fuck I'm talking about because they're the new people. Anyway, so that's how I connected. I had a lust for connection, and it led me to start smoking weed, right? And that's how I connected with people. Hey, it was literally like, you smoke, yeah, and then there you go. But that was invalid for me. That was not someone like liking me for who I am. You know what I mean? Like, and then I was so to participate, to be a part of the community, and then if I didn't have money, I would go to Sawinski and grab the weed, and then we smoke. But we would laugh and joke and play PlayStation and blah 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 blah. But then once that was over, I was all alone. Again, all alone, longing, lusting for connection, you know? So, lust played a huge part in my life in the beginning, and it still does, and I still long for connection, but I'm wanting to do it. This is the reason why I built this channel. It's to connect and to heal together. So I still do have a longing, a lust for connection. But the difference is that it's not extreme. When I say extreme, it's not inordinate. It's not inordinate or illicit. It's not like a strong longing. It's not to the point where it's extreme. I have a relationship with myself, and I'm building myself up, and I have to, do my shadow work and go through my counseling and go through things like that to bring out the more authentic me, so I can connect and have meaningful friendships and relationships, and that they can connect with me, and they love me, and they like me, or they fuck with me because they like who I am, not because I can go get the weed from Sawinski. You know what I'm saying? So in addiction, lust is sneaky in all the ways that I just described to you. It's the connection. So in early recovery, and I am in early recovery. I did 2 stints in rehab. This is my 3rd stint of intensive outpatient, and this is um, my first time living in a recovery home where there's counselors and doctors and things here, and I'm feeling good about that. But lust was an unhealthy. I used it in an unhealthy way. So, real quick, like, let me discuss how lust really is so powerful for me, and how crystal meth like just did it for me. I never really felt addicted to anything. Like I can give or take it. Now I may have done it to excess, but I can take it or leave it. You know what I mean? But where my mind was when meth was introduced to me, I was craving. I was lusting for something. And for that, you can look at episode 2 where I talk about my first time using meth. So meth, I've had a really not the best relationship with sex. Not the best relationship with sex. The first time I had sex, I was pressured into it. Didn't want to do it. And then after that, when I came out, I was young and naive and not really knowing, and I was told that to have sex a certain way, I'm supposed to be a certain way. I've never really had the opportunity to find myself sexually, and the world I was around, the people I'm around, the people that I call friends, and everybody was like hooking up, one night stands, meeting people in bars and stuff like that. In my 20s, it was exciting, and I got some feeling for it. But then I noticed as I was getting older, I just felt so empty. And the majority of the time, 9 times out of 10, it wasn't really satisfying to me. It wasn't. It was I was so insecure that I was focused only on the pleasuring the other person. So if you run into somebody that I messed with, they'd be like, yeah, I mean, but what about me? You know what I'm saying? And so I never got that. So with crystal meth, how it was introduced to me, and again, like from my last video, you can see it was a sexual in nature, and it went hand in hand. Porn, sex, and meth, and literally just like multiple motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? You were doing things, I was doing things that I would never in my lifetime ever think of doing, and but that was the first time in my life where I felt like the man. You know what I'm saying? Like I felt I was empowered. I was lusted after. People desired me. I always had this issue. Like, I've been in relationships before, but but to be totally honest, I was very much settled, and I was very young with a lot of them. Like, I was in my 20s, and some of them people I'm really good friends with till to this day. But I don't want to call it settling. I think that's disrespectful, but hmm, it was me longing for connection, pleasing them, not just sexually, but like I I was the I was the breadwinner. Um, I did all the cooking. It was just like, you caught me in my mid 20s and mid 30s, like, baby, I got you. I'll pay your rent. I'll buy your clothes. Just Captain Save a Hoe. Just a sucker. So, but like, no. But yes. um, it the meth validated the lust. It it increased it. It was powerful. I had no insecurities. Fuck my belly, whatever. Like, very, chubby or whatever. Like, I'm what up? Like, and that is not who I am. And like I said, never in a million years would I ever participated or done the things that I did outside of meth, outside of, it just was so not me and so artificial. Like, I don't even know people's names type shit. Like, it was crazy, but I was on it. I was on it. Um, I wrote this note to myself right here. What I said that today lust shows up, and I don't shame it. I get curious and I ask. That is absolutely true. Um, but it's not really sexual. And I'm don't I'm it's not sexual. It's like I'm not lusting after a person. I'm lusting after a connection once again. So I when I feel a lust here now in in recovery, um, I've done enough shadow work. I've done enough investigating in my life that I know what it is. It's this and it could be not just for people, like, but like I keep going back to and keep saying it's a connection, but it's an intimacy. I lust for someone to love me unconditionally. Someone who I can just feel safe with. They're not judging me. I'm not judging them. We're just human beings on a path, just growing individually and together. I desire that. I long for that. I lusted for that, and I found that artificially through meth and other drugs and alcohol. Again, me being here in early sobriety, I feel like a baby. Um, I feel like I'm relearning everything. And it is so much of It's a journey. It's so much of a journey that is actually, it feels, it's exciting. It feels like uh, the brother from another planet. That's a movie that came out in the '70s. So you got to be a certain age that to understand that. But like, I feel brand new. But with all the wisdom and the experience and the hurt and the pain and the things that I went through and all of that still there, but a brand new baby. Like I'm birthing. I just came out the birth canal. Like, yeah, okay, yeah, show me something. You know what I'm saying? Cause and so I, I, you know what helps when I have those feelings. Um, when I have that longing for a connection, that lust for a connection, I get curious. I ask myself questions and I get my answers. But I write my answers down. When I feel things that are triggering or when I had my group therapy today, um, we talked about it. I went and wrote it down. And I have notes here, but I need to go put it in my journal. But I I'm lo- uh, am learning to not um, be so detached and so disconnected uh, from being like high and being just one track minded and being uh, illicit. um, and really questioning whenever I have those any type of feelings like that. And so again, like I said when I first started talking to you guys, um, I don't believe lust is a sin. You can call it a sin when I was using it illicitly, when I was very much using meth on the apps, trying to find bodies, bodies. I don't give a fuck who you were, what your name was. That was sinful. Uh, I get these little downloads. And I just got it's a warm feeling like I'm doing the right thing right now with this, right? And I don't know if anybody, I had a couple people checking my videos out, and I thank each and every one of the subscribers, and thank you all so much. I'm just so grateful that you're here. Um, but as I'm talking to you, and I write, and as I talk, I get these aha moments, and that is the point of methodology. I want to have conversations. I want to heal together. You know, I love talking. I love people. Um, and I'm curious about people and what they think about things. So for real, like, share, subscribe, and let's have a conversation. Let's have more conversations. And if I touched something in you If something resonated with you in this video or any of my videos, you know, um, remember you're not alone. You're not alone. I'm here to talk. I'm here to talk about my stuff, and you can talk about your stuff in an open and honest, safe place and have a conversation. And then you can feel when you talking, when you letting kind of stuff out, like through your therapist or your friend or through this fucking camera right now, a lifting. I feel a lifting from my shoulders. I feel lighter. So um, that's my take on lust. What's your take on lust and addiction? Let me know. Or again, say fuck you in the comments. Whatever. Let's communicate. Um, Thank y'all for watching this. Thank y'all so much for the subscribers and the likes that I do have. I so appreciate you. And thank y'all for watching episode 3 of Methology. And I will see you next time. And always, don't forget to love everything. Like dead ass. Love everything. All right? Peace.